Hello everyone, this presentation is about virtual reality assisted language learning, an outlook of virtual reality on enhancing second language learners' pragmatic competence. This presentation is submitted to Dr. Park for the course Current Trends in Instructional Technology. First, I will offer an overview of this presentation. As technology is integrating into our lives more and more closely, and it evolves at a lightning fast pace, so I think technology has a great potential to revolutionize education, and it can also bring many possibilities for better teaching and learning designs that may greatly benefit the future generation. So in this presentation, I propose that if a well-designed program with the technological support from virtual reality could be developed, then second language learners' pragmatic abilities or pragmatic competence can be greatly promoted. So what is pragmatic competence? According to Low Castro, pragmatic competence is defined as the study of speaker and hearer meaning created in their joint actions that include both linguistic and non-linguistic signals in the context of socio-culturally organized activities. However, interestingly, for many native speakers, the pragmatic competence is really intuitive. But for most second language learners, especially those who are physically absent from their target language speaking culture, because they don't have enough authentic input and reciprocal interactions with native speakers, so that the development of their pragmatic competence in the target language could be significantly difficult. There are also other reasons that may result in a lack of pragmatic competence in these auto learners. For instance, if the English language instructions they received are grammar and vocabulary focused. This happens a lot in many Asian countries, such as in China, because the teachers would focus more on the students' memorization of the vocabulary and making sure that the students are getting high scores at the English tests and exams, so that these students' pragmatic abilities sometimes would be ignored. Another reason might be that for students who come from Asian cultures, they tend to be more reticent in class because being obedient and humble are observed as the cultural values. So they tend to participate less in class so that they have less chances of practicing their pragmatic skills. Another reason I think is because that many learners don't have either the money or time to study in the target language speaking countries overseas, so that they are exposed to limited authentic input, which hinders their development of the pragmatic abilities. Here is an example. Lin in 2008 points out that many Chinese students tend to use sentences like "can you" or "could you" when asking for permissions from teachers instead of using "would you mind of" or "is there any chance that I could" by many native speakers. And the reason for this is mostly due to the direct transfer and translation of the way how their native Chinese language is used. So the development of a pragmatic competence is in urgent need. So what would the solution be? I propose a possible solution which integrates the virtual reality into the language teaching and learning, because the virtual reality offers an immersive environment and they are rich in sounds and other sensations, and they could let the user explore and have interactions with the artificial world. And the theory of integrating virtual reality into language learning is in line with the situated learning theory, which points out that the importance of social and cultural contexts in learning. The immersive environment in the virtual reality simulates the contextualized learning environment, where the auto learners can be exposed to the simulated authentic learning contexts, and they could also have conversations with the virtual characters. They could learn and interact based on the characters' facial expressions, tones, and body languages in order to build up their pragmatic abilities. So what would the virtual reality assisted language learning look like in the future? First, a 3D virtual learning model should be designed with a specific focus on student pragmatic development. And the setting of this model shall consist of virtual places where the utilization of one's pragmatic ability can be observed. And these settings can be at the restaurant, at the airport, at the bank, in the hospital, at the school, and so on. Next, the intelligent virtual avatars or characters should also be built and programmed so that they can start to have conversations with the Outlook learners in any preset scenarios. Actually, there are already apps that are integrating virtual reality into the language learning, such as Mondly, and a screenshot of the app Mondly is shown on the left. And they kind of have similar concepts. However, these apps focus more on the learning of the vocabulary and pronunciation rather than the development of the pragmatic ability. So I think that in the future, any mobile apps or computer programs should be developed with a specific focus on promoting L2 learners' pragmatic abilities. Now let's take a look at the potential benefits and concerns. There are both benefits and concerns. For benefits, virtual reality assisted language learning could potentially improve learners' motivations in learning because these kind of programs are rich in sounds and images, and they can also offer participant character interactions in the contextualizing scenarios. So it is possible that the learner's motivation could be greatly enhanced. They can also promote retention and can also save both time and money for the L2 learner to travel overseas because they can just start learning pragmatic related knowledge either at home or at school. And last but not least, these kind of programs can offer learning in a non-threatening way because for some L2 learners, they may be naturally shy in social contact. So it is possible that these kind of programs could encourage them to be engaged in conversations in a more relaxing way. But there are also concerns. For example, the virtual reality equipment or headsets can be very costly at present, so it may not be affordable for many schools or universities, or personal or for any persons. And it may also cause problems for teachers because it may be difficult for them to manage any classroom activities because the virtual immersive environment needs to be realized through wearing the virtual reality headsets. However, once the students wear these headsets, their vision and hearing could be restricted to only the virtual environment, so that managing the classroom teaching through virtual reality could be a problem. And next, for some students, it is possible that they may become addicted to the virtual environment and thus shun away any interactions or even responsibilities that they need to have in real life. Last but not least, it is possible for some students to have a really uncomfortable experience while wearing the virtual reality headset, especially for those who are prone to have motion sickness. Okay, next, last but not least, some further recommendations. I think for educational technologists, moving towards the integration of virtual reality into second language education is still the right direction, because the three-dimensional contextualized learning could really transform the learning experience that the traditional classroom could never offer. But there are two recommendations that I would give to educational technologists. First is that the development of a more accurate voice or speech recognition in VR is extremely important because it ensures a seamless conversation between the L2 learners and the virtual characters. because the virtual characters need to understand the what the auto learner says, and the auto learner also needs to react according based on the virtual characters' linguistic and non-linguistic cues. So a more seamless design should be developed. Next recommendation I would give is related with the design of the appearance of the virtual characters. Even though the common sense tells us that the more virtual characters resemble human, the more believable the scene, and thus the better, this is unfortunately not the case in reality. According to a research, the more virtual characters resemble human, the more likely that they will be accepted until their resemblance reaches a certain degree that they suddenly become uncanny or even scary, which will trigger the revulsion in the viewers. Therefore, my second recommendation is that to what degree shall the virtual characters resemble humans deserve future educational technologists' serious consideration. Okay, that's all. Here are the references, and thank you for watching.